You've taken somewhere between 15 and 20,000 breaths today. How many of them do you remember? Not remember fondly, not remember as significant, just remember ones you were conscious of, the ones you noticed happening. 3, 5, maybe 10 if you've been paying attention. The most constant process keeping you alive is the one you know the least about. And the moment you bring attention to it, right now, as you hear me say that, it changes. Nothing else in your body does that. This is the third series. The fascia series established that your body is not a collection of separate parts, it's one connected web, a sensory, electrical, living field organized by connective tissue. The fasting series established that the appetite is the loudest ruler in the body, and sitting with its absence deliberately, repeatedly, trains the capacity for presence that no other practice can build. This series completes the trilogy. Breath is the manual override, the one autonomic process the conscious mind can reach into and change. The bridge between the body that runs on its own and the person who lives inside it. So we're going to go all the way through it. Biology first, nervous system second, the emotional body and the ancient framework, the practice that actually work and why, and what breath reveals about a person, which is everything. But today, the foundation, what breath actually is, and why the fact that you've been doing it your whole life doesn't mean you've been doing it right. Most people think of breathing as air goes in and air comes out. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. That's true, but it's about 10% of the picture. Here's a fuller version. Breathing is the body's primary mechanism for regulating almost everything. Not just oxygen delivery, but everything. Your heart rate regulated by your breath, your blood pressure regulated by your breath, your nervous system state regulated by breath, your pH balance, the acidity of your blood regulated by breath, your stress response triggered and terminated by breath, your sleep quality determined significantly by how you breathe while you're unconscious. Your emotional state shaped breath by breath, whether you know it or not. See, breath is not a background process, it's the governor, the system that touches every other system. And here's the thing that changes everything once you understand it. Breathing is the only function in your body that is both automatic and voluntary. Your heart beats without your permission. Your digestion runs without your instruction. Your immune system operates without your awareness. But breathing, you can take over anytime. Right now, this second, you can slow it down, speed it up, hold it, change the depth, change the pattern. No other system gives you that access, which means breath is the only door into your own autonomic nervous system that you can walk through consciously. The only lever on the body's involuntary machinery that a choosing mind can reach. That's not a small thing, that's the most important design feature of the human body that almost nobody uses. Here's the first thing that surprises almost everyone. What triggers your urge to breathe is not running out of oxygen, it's carbon dioxide. The brainstem monitors CO2 level in the blood continuously. When CO2 rises above certain threshold, the brainstem sends the signal, breathe. Not because you're low on oxygen, because you need to exhale CO2. The oxygen part is almost always fine. The CO2 is what the body is actually managing. Why does this matter? Because most people, when they think about breathing better, think about getting more oxygen, bigger breath, more of them, deeper. And that instinct is backwards, over breathing, breathing more than your body actually needs. Lower CO2 below the level the body needs to function optimally. And low CO2 has consequences that reach into almost every system. And we'll deep dive in episode 4. For now, just hold this. The gas most people think of as a waste is actually one of the most important regulators in your body. And most modern people are getting rid of it way too fast. There's a distinction I want to make early because it runs through every episode that follows. The difference between breathing and ventilating. Ventilating is the mechanical process. Air moves, gas exchange happens, and the body stays alive. Most people ventilate all day without interruption. Breathing, real breathing, is when the full respiratory mechanism is engaged. The diaphragm moving properly, the nasal passages doing their job, the breath rate matched to what the body actually needs, the nervous system being regulated by the pattern, not just supplied with oxygen. Most adults in the modern world ventilate. They don't breathe. They breathe through their mouth. They breathe from their chest instead of their belly. They breathe faster than their physiology requires. They breathe in a pattern that keeps the stress response mildly activated all day, every day, without ever knowing they're doing it. This isn't a minor distinction, right? A person who's been chest breathing through their mouth for 20 years has been running their stress response on low simmer for 20 years. Their sleep is affected, their anxiety is affected, their recovery is affected, their fascia is affected because the diaphragm sits at the center of the entire fascial system, and when it doesn't move freely, nothing downstream moves freely either. The body's been trying to tell them something is wrong through the tension in their neck that won't release, through the sleep that isn't restoring, through the anxiety that seems to have no cause. The cause has been happening 20,000 times a day. It just happened too quietly to notice. Here's where this becomes more than interesting. Here's where it becomes actionable. Because breath is the only autonomic function with the manual override. It's the fastest access point to everything the other two series covered. The fascial system responds to breath. Every inhale creates pressure changes that move through the fascial matrix. The diaphragm, when it moves correctly, is the primary pump for the lymphatic system, the primary mobilizer for a visceral fascia, the primary regulator of the intra-abdominal pressure that governs spinal loading. The fascia and the breath are the same conversation. The emotional body responds to breath. Every emotion has a specific breath pattern. Fear has one, grief has one, rage has one, joy has one. And the relationship runs both ways. Change the breath, you begin to change the emotional state. Not completely, not instantly, but measurably, consistently every time. The nervous system state, which the fasting series showed is stored in the fascial tissue, is directly accessible through your exhale. We'll deep dive in episode 3, but for now, the exhale activates the parasympathetic response, the rest and digest state, the off switch. And you can reach it any time without a supplement, without a protocol, without an app, just by changing how you exhale. That access has been sitting there your entire life. 20,000 opportunities a day, most of them missed. When you were born, the first thing that happened after you left the womb was a breath. Not a choice, not a decision, not a learned behavior, an involuntary gas that inflated the lungs that had never held air. The first breath of life. And if you watch an infant breathe, really watch, you see something that most adults have lost. The belly rises and falls fully and freely. The nostrils do all the work. The rate is slow and even. The whole body participates. Somewhere between infancy and adulthood, between the womb and the desk, between the crib and the screen, most people's breath changed. It moved from the belly to the chest, from the nose to the mouth, from slow to full to fast and shallow. Not because of a single event, because of an accumulation of stress held in the body, of postures adopted and maintained for years, of emotional patterns that shorten the breath and the shortened breath that maintain the emotional patterns. The breath you were born with is still available today. The pattern changed, but the capacity didn't. That's what this series is about. Not learning something new, but returning to something original. Before episode 2, I want to give you one thing to do. Not a breathing exercise, not a technique, just an observation. Sometime in the next 24 hours, when you're sitting still, not in a crisis, just an ordinary moment, put one hand on your chest, put one hand on your belly, take a few breaths and notice which hand moves. If the chest hand moves first, your breathing pattern has shifted from where it started. That shift has been shaping your nervous system, your fascia, your emotional state, and your sleep quality constantly for years. You don't need to fix it right now. Just notice it, and noticing is the beginning. Episode 2, the wrong way almost everyone breathes, right? What mouth breathing actually does, what chest breathing actually does, and why the pattern most people have defaulted into is keeping them in a state they didn't choose and can't get out of because they don't know what's driving it. So I'll see you there.